So glad you've been with me throughout so many storylines. And in this one, a deep dive into those EV stocks, those electric vehicles that have been running the show in many ways. And Steve Wesley is with us, founder, managing partner of the Wesley Group, and Garrett Nelson, vice president, senior equity analyst at CFRA Research. Thank you both for being here. We've had so many great conversations as we wrap it up. Steve, would you say 2023 did not disappoint? I mean, did you feel like there were a lot of great moments when it came to the EV space?
Look, 2023 certainly didn't disappoint at all. Look, the big picture here is the EV market's continuing to boom as prices come down. And I think expect 30% year-over-year growth globally, from 10.5 million units in 2022 to close to 14 million units this year. This means that almost 20% of all cars sold globally are EVs today. That's stunning. More price cuts are coming. Battery prices down 14% this year, 40% by 2025. We're entering into a world of EV dominance over the next decade. Big story. Will BYD, Tesla battle for the throne? I think in 2023, Tesla's going to keep the crown. They're probably going to sell about 1.8 million units to 1.6 for BYD. But by 2024, BYD is growing faster than anyone. They'll probably outsell Tesla. Big question, who wins the cost down war, and how soon can Tesla get that $25,000 car on the road?
Yeah, look, and you had the Cybertruck unveiling and got those up and out, or the beginning of getting those out. Garrett, what did you make? You had a buy rating. You both liked Tesla as a stock. Were you happy with the performance of Tesla in 2023? And is it a buy for 2024 going forward, Garrett?
It was a great year for Tesla. The stock has more than doubled year to date, so they have a lot of momentum. Steve mentioned declining battery costs. Their unit costs have come down for 3 straight quarters, and lithium prices have really plummeted. So, they have a lot of tailwinds on the cost side. Also, the UAW deal increases the costs of their competitors, the Detroit 3, by a significant amount. So, Tesla has a lot of tailwinds at its back heading into the new year. We have a buy on it still, $300 12-month price target. So we think it's going to be another really good year for the company in 2024. We think they will introduce this mass market next-gen EV model in 2024. Elon Musk has been talking about it more recently. We think next year's the year. It probably won't be at a $25,000 price point, just because that was a promise made 4 years ago, pre-COVID and pre-inflation. But we think it'll probably be somewhere in the range of a $30,000 to $35,000 price point for the base model. But we like Tesla a lot here.
Yeah, and Garrett, just quickly, which names, if people want to write them down, which ones do you have buy ratings on going forward?
So it's a pretty short list right now. It's Tesla, Ferrari, luxury automaker, but about $65 billion market cap. And then in the EV space, the one name aside from Tesla that we like is Polestar, ticker PSNY.
Okay. That being said here, Steve, BYD is a name that I think a lot of people have a lot of respect for. We know they were battling neck and neck. Which of the two companies, that and Tesla, could get more vehicles out? It's one that Buffett liked. It had a growth trajectory that some would say Tesla was more in an intermediate growth phase after sort of more surging. Is BYD also a name? Would you say those are both stocks that you like, Steve?
Absolutely. And look, there's just no disputing this. BYD is, simply put, growing faster than Tesla. So I think if you're looking for other names to look at, Tesla, BYD for sure. Look at the Koreans. Hyundai and Kia are doing awfully well. And you've got to give Rivian credit. I mean, they've been in this EV auto space for 6-7 years. They're already selling half the vehicles that GM and Ford are at 52,000 units this year. They've just raised their plans and they're heading toward profitability. So they're getting it right. The big question is, what the heck happened to Toyota, GM, Ford, the legacy manufacturers with all of this R&D money, this global capacity? They just didn't get the memo on EVs. I think they're going to be punished. And then there's a whole slew of firms that I think just don't make the cut. You know, Lucid really on air support here, being knocked out of the NASDAQ 100, losing dramatic amounts on every vehicle. So it's going to be a tale of two cities, the winners pulling away and some laggards really struggling to stay in the game.
Yeah, and you mentioned Lucid. There are so many names. We watched XPeng, we watched Li Auto. You know, Garrett, you were just talking about Polestar. So some of these names that NIO, some of the names that necessarily people don't talk about. I mean, the F-150 Lightning had a lot of excitement surrounding it, and then it just didn't have as much demand as they had hoped, and now they had to cut Ford, had to cut the production by half. You have GM Cruise. Was that a Ford problem? Maybe people didn't want an EV pickup truck. I mean, you have Rivian. But Garrett, what's the final thought? Is EV demand still hot? Do you expect that to still grow, or was it a fad or a phase?
What we've seen is a lot of traditional automakers actually pull back on their EV investments, their EV growth plans. Part of it's because of the new UAW deal. You've seen the Detroit 3 pull back. But also part of it is consumers are demanding more hybrids, and automakers are really getting the message that there's a lot more demand for hybrids than pure electric vehicles. And so, you know, you look at Ford, one of the only companies that discloses their EV results. They lost $36,000 per EV sold in the third quarter. That's just not sustainable. And so the companies themselves are making decisions to pivot their portfolios going forward. And so I think you're going to see a whole lot more hybrids being planned in the future, and a bit of a pullback on EVs just because consumers aren't demanding them.
Yeah. Ooh. Great to see you both. Thank you so much. I'll see you in 2024. Steve Wesley, Garrett Nelson, thank you for being with us.